Patiently waiting on my dreams to come true, hoping and praying one day that they do. Oh, I don't know how, and I don't know when, just patiently waiting till then. Patiently waiting each day that goes by, staring out windows at stars in the sky, imagining one day I'll be one of them, but patiently waiting till then. Maybe I'm wasting time, maybe I've lost my mind, maybe this whole thing is a joke, and no one let me know. And still I'm patiently waiting with you by my side, trusting one day that I can provide the life you've deserved, but never demand. Oh, patiently waiting till then. The life you've deserved, but never demand. Patiently waiting, patiently waiting till then. Patiently waiting on my dreams to come true, hoping and praying one day that they do. Oh, I don't know how, and I don't know when, just patiently waiting till then. Patiently waiting each day that goes by, staring out windows at stars in the sky, imagining one day I'll be one of them, but patiently waiting till then. Maybe I'm wasting time, maybe I've lost my mind, maybe this whole thing is a joke, and no one let me know. And still I'm patiently waiting with you by my side, trusting one day that I can provide the life you've deserved, but never demand. Oh, patiently waiting till then. The life you've deserved, but never demand. Patiently waiting, patiently waiting till then. Patiently waiting on my dreams to come true, hoping and praying one day that they do. Oh, patiently waiting each day that goes by, staring out windows at stars in the sky, imagining one day I'll be one of them, but patiently waiting till then. Maybe I'm wasting time, maybe I've lost my mind, maybe this whole thing is a joke and no one let me know. And still I'm patiently waiting with you by my side, trusting one day that I can provide the life you've deserved but never demand. Oh, patiently waiting till then, the life you've deserved but never demand. Patiently waiting till then. Patiently waiting on my dreams to come true, hoping and praying one day that they do. Oh, I don't know how and I don't know when, just patiently waiting till then. Patiently waiting each day that goes by, staring out windows at stars in the sky, imagining one day I'll be one of them, but patiently waiting till then. Maybe I'm wasting time, maybe I've lost my mind, maybe this whole thing is a joke and no one let me know. Still I'm patiently waiting with you by my side, trusting one day that I can provide the life you've deserved but never demand. Oh,